everyone, it's Carrots, and for today's video I'm going to do a series of builds, but instead of showing you guys just a preview or doing a speed build, I'm going to do step-by-step instructions so that you guys can do these amazing builds yourselves. Today we're going to do a living room with a nice rainy spring window patio. I'm going to start sharing design concepts they teach you when you go to school to be a designer. So what I'm going to do first is I'm doing a window. So I'm going to pull up my inspiration picture for my window. All right, everyone, this is actually my kitchen. And this is the window that I'm going to use for reference. I'm looking at how it's divided up into these panes with thicker lines going through, and then it's got the thinner lines. And then if you look, the window sets in a little bit from the wall, so it's not perfectly flat. So those are the things that I'm paying attention to try to make this window look as realistic as possible. Here is the second inspiration picture. I pulled this off of the Adobe stock site and purchased it so that I wouldn't have any copyright issues. But really, you can just go to Google and Google spring landscape or spring trees to get an idea. And the things I'm noticing about this that makes it look like spring are we have the light green, soft, beautiful colors. We have flowers, of course. Also, the other thing I want you to pay attention to is that in nature, the trees are not all the same size. They're different sizes and it's very random. Pay attention to that, because if you want your stuff to look real, it needs to be random because nature is random. All right, so with all this in mind, let's get started. First, I'm going to measure out. I'm going to have my patio come out here. So I'm going to be able to come out. This will be the kitchen into the patio out here. And this is going to be the front living room. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. So I'm going to pull out some rugs because we're going to have some nice green grass, and so we're going to make this with rugs. And what I need to make sure is that this window is as big as I can get it, but that it does not interfere with this door. So this goes too far. I don't like this because it would stick out. So I'm probably going to put two of these down. We're going to turn them a nice, pretty soft green color. I think I'll pick this one for now. And we're just going to lay out a couple rugs so we know exactly, what size we want this to be. And then, of course, we need this to extend past the door. So you come out and here's your patio. So it's got to be, the line needs to be between here and here. So I'm going to lay out the grass. I tried sliding the rugs over. It wasn't working. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some green blocks in the back. So let's push this back just a little bit. So here's our grass, and this is where our grass has to go. And this is where your frame is going to go, right across the edge. So I'm just going to go here and add some blocks really quick to cover this white. All right, that's done. Now this will not look like this when I'm done. I'm going to add things to this so it looks more natural, but this will work for now. Next, I'm going to put in some mirrors for my sky because the mirrors look like it's outside, so that's what I use. These massive mirrors, I'm going to use these because they cover a lot of surface area. There we go. And then I'm going to put another one over here, and I'm just going to cover all this space, make sure it's lined up with the edge of the mat. I'm not going to put a mirror here because this is our house, so there's not going to be a mirror here. And then now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out the window. I'm going to make it only as tall as the glass barriers. So we're going to throw down some temporary glass barriers for a second, just so we can get an idea of where the seams are and how big these windows are going to be. Okay, so that looks pretty good. That looks pretty centered. So what this is telling me is that this needs to be covered because I don't want this line showing up. So now I'm going to go into my blocks and I'm going to turn them white. And I'm going to go back to this bigger placement grid because it's good for fast stuff. And I'm going to start laying down the frame for our window. So right here, I'll just get started and then I'm going to fast forward through this and we'll get to the next step. So you're just gonna lay these all the way around your frame. So I'm going to remove this and get started. Okay, I framed both sides. Now I'm going to take a barrier. I'm going to place the bricks across. I'm going to lay them on it this way so that it's thinner on the side, just like so. All right, I've got that, and now I'm going to delete this barrier for now, and I've got a nice start to my window. Now, as far as height goes, I do not want this to be taller than my glass, so I'm going to throw down a barrier again for measurement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the top of the window right across here. So I'm going to mark it really quick with a brick. All right, now I know where it is. I'll just leave that here for a second. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to get a barrier and do the same thing I did where I lay these bricks across the barrier. This is how you do most builds in here, is you use this barrier to lay stuff down. So I'm going to put this up a little bit. That's the top. So I'm going to have it, see how you can kind of see it poking out. Now I know that it's flush straight across, and now I'm going to lay my bricks across here. But before I do that, let me add another barrier. So I know that these two are lined up and it's even. So I'm going to add another barrier right here. All right, so I'm going to lay, starting with this, let me show you what I'm doing really quick, and then we'll fast forward through this. So I noticed something. See how this is nice and flush, but this isn't? This is going to be a problem that I have to try to work out because I can't have this covering the door. So the way I'm going to solve this problem is I'm going to do a barrier again, and I'm going to have to lay these the other direction. And so it's going to make the window a little bit narrower, but it's the only thing I can think to do without covering the door. So we're going to throw down a barrier really quick. And a lot of this is trial and error. I tried to do this beforehand, so it was very quick and easy to show you, but I still end up making mistakes. So it just takes a little bit of patience. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these flat against it like this. So it's going to be, the sides of the window are going to be a little bit thicker, but it still looks good as long as it's symmetrical. And do you notice how now we have this nice even line here? So now I'm going to take the barrier, I'm going to do the same thing and just move these over on this side, and it's going to be, instead of being this way, it's going to be a little bit wider. So we'll adjust that really quick. All right, so we've got a nice start to our frame. I'm going to delete these barriers because we don't need them right now. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to put down the bird baths that create rain. This is the fun part. So let's grab a bird bath. I'm going to pull out a barrier. Now that I have this here, I'm going to pull out more bird baths. So just start throwing these down randomly. There's no order, and I'll see you in just a minute. All right, that's good. I'm just double checking that nothing's outside of the lines, and that looks good to me. So now we have our rain. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to cover up these bird baths. So I'm going to get myself a barrier. I want the top of the windows to be about here. So after I straighten this out, I'm going to drop this down, and I'm going to switch this back to the large so it snaps in. And I'm going to turn it, any color is fine. We're going to do white because we're going to put mirrors up here. But do you see how now that covers our bird baths nice? Now we're going to put some mirrors on the ceiling because it's the sky. So let's grab some mirrors. Don't feel like you need to be perfect. My builds are not perfect. There are a lot of mistakes in them that you guys may not catch that you would see if you studied them. Because I don't like to be frustrated. So sometimes being a perfectionist just leads to frustration. If you make it beautiful, people aren't necessarily going to notice. There we are. So now we have our rainy sky, and we've got a nice starting off point. Now we're going to cover the front of this really quick. Again, just a simple barrier does the trick. Notice that I'm lining these up. I'm making sure that they're lined up. I'm using multiple to cover one space because they're not quite big enough. And I want to make sure that they go all the way up and all the way across. So use as many as you need, and just, you know, you can see how there's the two colors so that you know that they're the same level. All right, so this one isn't cooperating the way I'd like. So here's what I'm going to do. If I can't get it to line up level, I put it so I lock it in a little bit, and then I can just use regular bricks to fill in the rest of the holes. And because I've got it on the large placement grid, they should just snap right into place and they should line up. If I had it on the small one, it would be a lot of work to try to get these to line up. And there we go. That looks really nice and clean so far. Now let's do some more fun stuff. Let's fill this in with some stuff. I'm going to throw down a patio door really quick because why not? Let's make it glass so we can see this view from the kitchen. And of course, this is made to look like a house, so I'm just going to ignore this right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start throwing down some trees. Now, remember when we talked about trees, they are at different levels. To look natural, they need to not all be the same size. I'm going to put one way back here. Of course, I want to cover this pot. I'm going to put it on the small grid so I have more control, and I'm gonna, you know, spin them around every which way. But now I'm gonna throw in some different kinds of trees, and like I said, nature is random, so overlap them a little. I'm gonna make this a little bit different color, maybe that. And now I'm gonna throw down some more trees, and I'll be right back. All right, that looks good to me. I wanna make sure that nothing interferes with this door, so I'm just making sure I move them back enough that they're out of the way. Now what I'm gonna do next is I'm going to use shapes, simple shapes, and discs to cover. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna throw it back here. We're gonna change it the same color as the grass so it blends in. And we're just gonna throw these in wherever. It doesn't, like I said, nature is random, so don't feel like, you know, whatever you do is probably gonna look good as long as you give it some variation, you know, make sure things are different levels, different sizes. Just make them as random as you can. All right, that part's done. See how that looks? Now I'm gonna add some flowers. And what I'm gonna do is just slide this in here and try to cover the vase. It might show up a little bit. That's a really hard thing to fight. I'm gonna try a bigger one and see if it, yes, that works. So the bigger one, you notice you can't see the vase at all. So I'm just gonna move this for just a second and slide this in here, because it has to have 2 of these cylinders to completely cover it. And then I'm going to slide this back in and cover those flowers. Do you see? So I'm gonna play around with this a minute and get some flowers put in here, and then I'll be back. There, and you can add as many or as little flowers as you want. Okay, now I'm gonna add some blocks to cover these up. And you can put straight and round. Just try to make the straight look a little bit jagged. You don't want it perfectly straight. Like that. See, that looks fine. I need to put some more round blocks over on this side. So let's grab it. I'm gonna grab a large disc for this side. I'm gonna kind of poke it into the wall a little bit. I want to leave room here for some patio furniture. The next thing I'm going to do again is I'm going to put some trees over on this side. All right, that looks good. This part is going to be covered by some patio furniture, and we'll make sure it looks okay. Oh, I probably should put some flowers over here so it doesn't look like there's just a few flowers on one side. You guys can add way more flowers if you want. I just don't have the patience for it right now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the furniture to make sure there's room for it. So let's add a nice fold-up chair, because the fold-up chairs to me look like outdoor chairs right here. So we're going to add some of these in. Nice wood color. I like that. And add these in really quick. So now we got our place to sit and hang out with our friends. And then we're going to add a little table to put our tea. And I want something that kind of looks makeshift and simple. This, let's see, how does this one look? I guess that works. So we'll use this one. It's a good size. And then let's add the lampposts. Those add a lot. Okay, so there's this word. It's hygge. And it's a Danish word. And what it means is comfort and warmth. The things that make us feel warm and comforted and happy are the things that we need for survival, such as warmth and food and things like that. So what hygge is those things are what makes things beautiful to us. So once you add in some warmth, like this light, it makes humans feel safe, and it's pretty to us. And so adding that in is how I make things cozy. I always try to add some warmth and some things to make it look more comfortable, to make it more appealing. Now this lamppost is running into the ceiling. It looks like I'm going to have to raise the ceiling even though I didn't want to, because I really super want this lamppost. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to raise the ceiling really quick. Sorry about that if you're following along, and I'll be right back. I'm only raising it from the inside. I'm not raising it from out here. I'm just going to raise it from back here. All right, and I like that better. I like how it goes up higher out here anyway. That actually worked out really well. So I'm going to leave this lamppost here, make sure that this doesn't intersect with it. I'm going to move it back to small so I can move it over a little bit. I really love the way that this lamppost adds feel. I'm going to move this over just a little bit so you can see it, so it's not blocked by this center point, so you can see it more. And that's good. The only thing is I feel like you can't see the bird baths. You can't see the rain now. I need to lower these bird baths somehow. So again, I'm going to lower the ceiling a little so that it's not hitting this. Again, sorry about that. So it's not hitting that, but you can see the rain coming down because, of course, I want the rain. So what I'm going to do is try turning these on their sides. Yes, that's better. I'm going to turn them on their sides over here. And just try to do that. And then I'll put the barriers back to cover them in just a minute. Okay, be right back. All right, looking good. I like this. Okay, we're going to have to do something about the back of here. And all I'm going to do is just throw up some more white bricks to even this off. All right, that looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the bottom part. And I'm going to finish off these windows. So I'm going to grab this, and I kind of, again, pay attention. You don't want it running into the door, so it's going to need to come back to about this level right here. There we are. That's looking good. Now for the finishing touch, I'm going to add the glass, and then we're going to put some cool lines across here. All right, our window is looking really good. Now, these are the finishing touches that make things look realistic and beautiful. It's all in the details. The more details, the better. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some lines on this. So what you do is you grab a sign. This can be tricky and expensive. These signs cost a lot. I wish they didn't, or we had another option, but we don't, so I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna turn this white, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to type a bunch of shift dash, which is underscore, and sometimes it turns to hashtags. It drives me crazy. I haven't figured out why, and sometimes it works. So just fight with it and keep redoing it till it works. I'm gonna throw up a barrier to lay this on. I'm gonna sit in this chair because that's how I go back and forth. And I'm going to move this over a little bit from the inside. There we go, that's better. And then just to make it easier on myself, I'm gonna add another one and line it up now so I can do both windows. There we go. And that should do it. Now here's my beam. And I'm going to do 2 sets of windows, I think, like this. You could do 3. Let me look. What would look better? Ooh, I think 3 is going to look better. So I'm going to do 3. So there's 1. Now let's get some more. See how it hashtagged? That happens a lot. Just fight with it until it works. That's all I can tell you. If you guys know a big secret about this, please comment below because you would save me so much hassle. Also, if you know any tips and tricks that I don't know or anything, please comment below. I love to learn from other people and what they do. I love to learn new ways to do things. Okay, see how I've got these? I made it as centered as I could. I'm just eyeballing it. If I try to do the snap too, I know it's not gonna work. So that looks good. Now I'm gonna add the 2 in on this side. All right, and now we need to put them across this way. We're gonna do some 9-pane windows. All right, there you have it. I'm going to be doing, the next video I'll be doing in this installment, I will be doing a really cute kitchen off the patio over here, and it is also going to have a window with a little bit of rain that you can look out while you wash your dishes. Anyway, so be back soon. See you later. Bye.